why did we go from in-house from NetSpot to in-house maintenance? Yeah, so it was mainly, I think it was mainly the cost saving, and it's meant that my position's become permanent, woohoo, and just a few other things, and yeah, I think that's one of the main reasons. Any others? No.
Amy.
Excellent, thank you.
The work you've done online and that you made available is really beneficial to a lot of people. So
recording stopped.
And I guess you're ready for the next one. Everyone wants to move.
Yeah, it's only set up to
Turn this one now.
We'll leave that
That
one
one?
for a bit. Once it's green flashing,
So I'll turn it off again?
and red is muted.
Okay.
Okay, so you got your transfer library up just
Yep,
on
that's fine.
that one. And close that when you're done, and up the top right here.
Yep, no,
flicking
all
through.
good.
You good to go?
All right.
Should be right. Hey, sorry. I'm in here for a little bit.
Okay, we are running very short in time. We might stragglers will come in and out because of the no timetable changeover that we have.
Testing.
Cherie is our next lecturer. Cherie has taught and course coordinated the skills courses in the CQ University STEPS program. For those who aren't familiar, the STEPS program is the Skills for Tertiary Education and Preparatory Studies, for which he actually received national citation in 2012. Cherie is going to provide an overview of a project that's developed video enhanced feedback for online Moodle quizzes that enables students to re-attend the quiz to complete the feedback loop. At the end, we're hoping that you will see that this technology may also be applicable across more than one discipline, something that's related to.
Thank you. I'm going to sit because I get a little bit carried away when I present, so if I sit, I might not, so it'll keep me contained. Okay. CQ University, a lot of people that I've met today said, oh, you've come a long way. I actually have. I've come from Gladstone, Queensland. But CQ University has 13 campuses across Australia, Western Australia, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Rockhampton. So there's a lot of campuses. We also have 7 study hubs. So when you do meet someone from CQ University, it doesn't mean they're essentially from Central Queensland, hence why we changed the name to CQ University rather than Central Queensland University. So I wasn't going to say all that, but I thought I should throw that in. Another thing to note when looking at this, CQ University has 50% distance students. We've been doing distance for a very long time. I've been with them since 2008 and I've delivered courses that are purely distance courses. But when you think of the 13 campuses, you can have a course with students across all of them. So, and then a distance cohort. So being able to engage all of those students is quite important. And we're also very inclusive. We have 43% low socioeconomic status students, which is extremely high, and probably, I would imagine, one of the highest in Australia. So we have to be inclusive. Another little tidbit about CQ University, if you haven't heard, we're also what we call a truly comprehensive university because we merged with TAFE at the beginning of July. So now students can go all the way through from TAFE to a postgraduate degree. So just a little bit of background. Now, the overall aim for what I was doing with this, as I said, I've been teaching at CQ University since 2008. My background is actually in psychology. I've got a psychology degree. So that side of learning is very important to me, engaging the students. And because I've got a minor in mathematics, I also deliver mathematics courses. Doing that online is extremely difficult to deliver mathematics. Getting students to learn mathematics from a textbook is extremely difficult. So prior to this project, I created 126 instructional videos for my mathematics course that delivered the content to my students, and they were engaged, and that's what my citation was based upon. So we're now using that technology, incorporating it into the Moodle environment in terms of quizzes. Online quizzes are becoming extremely popular because they're easy. Implemented themselves. Love that. In a course that I had previously, we had 9 pieces of formative assessment that we marked by hand. We marked them electronically using a tablet PC, but they were still done by hand. They are still being done like that because I'm no longer I've seconded with learning and teaching services this year, so I'm an educational developer for a year. But you can see the applicability of turning those tests into an online quiz, because then you wouldn't be doing the marking. But quizzes don't really give you great feedback, so we'll get into that. So I'm sure people have read that. I don't see the use in reading what's on a slide, but that was the overall aim. We really want to allow students to self-identify their areas of weakness. They're assessing themselves, and instead of a quiz that would just be right or wrong and they move on, the feedback they get is an instructional video. So if they get a question wrong, they get an instructional video explaining to them how to solve the problem, and then they get another attempt at the question. So the video isn't on the exact problem that they've just solved, it's on a similar problem. So they have to learn from the video if they don't know how to do it, and then apply it. And if they can do that, then they get the question right. And when I do the quizzes, I usually do an average mark. So the mark is averaged across their attempts. So you can see that would have a really good applicability in a diagnostic testing situation, but also for formative assessment. So, multiple choice quizzes. Some people love them, some people hate them. They've been around since 1914. Quite interesting there, a little bit of trivia. Conflicting views regarding their value. Increased use in universities because we have a lot more students. We have courses at CQ with 400 students in them. You know, you can see the benefits of having a multiple choice quiz. The decrease in resources in terms of the time and money of an academic, and we've also got the technology now that we didn't have before. Now, CQ University has removed all multiple choice questions from their end of term exams. So I don't want to get into that because that's a whole different thing. But I want to stress that they're still allowed to use them throughout the term. A lot of people think that we've removed multiple choice questions overall. We haven't. We've removed them from those big summative exams that are at the end of the term. Okay, so just clarifying that. Now the other thing that's good is with maths it can be difficult to implement non-multiple choice questions in Moodle. And the reason for that is I can solve a question and my answer looks different to someone else who solved the exact same question. It is essentially the same answer, it might just be moved around a little bit, but when you set up a quiz in Moodle, you have to have all the different type or variations of those answers if you're going to do a short answer quiz. So multiple choice questions are nice because you can have exactly they can get their answer and go, oh yeah, that rearranges to A. So they can pick it. So it works a little bit better with that. So there you've just got a pros and cons. Pros, once set up, zero work for the coordinator. And that is why we're using Moodle quizzes a lot at university. Instantaneous feedback. Students love the fact that they know that they're right or wrong immediately. Question banks allow for multiple attempts through randomisation. High reliability. If there are a sufficient number of valid questions, comprehensive evaluation of knowledge, it's objective, and that's only if the author is trained, and the teacher bias is reduced. The cons. Now these are what we're trying to reduce by doing video enhanced quizzes. It's difficult to construct and authenticate. Unfortunately, these quizzes, when you have the videos included, are still difficult to construct. And if you're using them for mathematics, then you've got the maths editor, which is a whole new story. So it's still difficult, but once it's there, it's quick. So that's good. Poor feedback. That would be the biggest thing with quizzes. The feedback is usually very poor. It's whether they're right or wrong. They don't know what they did wrong. And we're really moving, as our keynote this morning talked about, we're moving towards assessment for learning. We want students to learn through assessment because, unfortunately, that's what students focus on these days in university. They focus on the assessment. So you have to make sure that your assessment is a learning opportunity because that could be the only engagement they have in your course, especially for distance students, because they don't come to class. Guessing. Single attempt, no opportunity for the student to check if they now understand. Low-level cognitive processes. It's subjective if the author isn't trained. The student's right or wrong. There can be cueing effects and gender differences. Now, the gender differences, females are less willing to take a risk when doing a test. They're less willing to guess. So we want to embrace the pros and reduce the cons. And that's where we've come up with video-enhanced multiple-choice questions. The reason why we really did it was to try and save time for us, but yet enhance the feedback to students. Because a lot of people, when I say to them, I'd like to move the quizzes online, they say, oh, well, the students aren't going to learn as much, they're not going to get the feedback from you, and they're not going to learn how to set questions out. These videos overcome that. And they're created using a tablet PC and Windows Journal whilst recording the screen with Camtasia. I do have a video which shows it, so you'll get to see, but not helping the people online. But anyway, that's a tablet PC. So a tablet PC is still a laptop. It's not a tablet. I have to actually show it these days because I've been using this since 2008 when tablets weren't really around. So people think when I talk about a tablet PC, I'm talking about an Asus. You know what I mean? Those kind of tablets, where I'm not. So it means that you can close it up and write on the screen. So why are we doing it? Valuable constructive feedback. Students can self-assess, and I think that's huge. A lot of students won't ask for help. So if they can self-assess, identify their areas of weakness, they're more willing to address them. Students are less keen to say, I don't understand. And I've always told students, I'll find out in the end. You know, you may as well tell me now, because come the assessment at the end, I'm going to know you didn't understand. But still, they need that. And you have to come back to the fact that 43% of our students are low SES students. So a lot of our students have come through our bridging program, which is STEPS, so they haven't had education beyond year 10 or some are year 8. So they haven't got that foundational knowledge. And when it comes to mathematics, if you're missing some of the basics, that brick out of the wall is not there, you can't do the stuff above it. So you can see how this kind of tool can be used not only for an assessment tool, but a diagnostic tool. So students can be using it to realise, oh, I don't actually know this. So you can find what things they don't know that they need for your course, so your prerequisite knowledge or your recommended knowledge. Okay, so you kind of put it in the beginning. So there's good applications there. So the quizzes become a learning opportunity and it increases student understanding. And we've found that from the videos that we've done. As I said, I've been doing instructional videos and 126. I think I've done a lot of them for students and they work, especially with mathematics. The success rate of students has increased and students are doing better. They're understanding the material. And they're engaging. So our pilot project which we ran in term 2, so the term just gone, I know terms are different depending on the university, but term that's just gone. Simple MCQs with video feedback. It was a diagnostic tool. We wanted students to identify what they didn't know so then they could address that and then succeed in the course. They were formative tests, so they didn't count towards their grades, so therefore they were very non-threatening. Sometimes though that can be a negative because students go, it doesn't count, I don't care. So that's always an issue. Multiple attempts, average mark out of 10 and it was untimed. So I will show you a video. It goes for about 5 minutes. I've got plenty of time, which is great. And it runs through the quiz. Someone who knows technology knows that technology fails, so I didn't go to the internet to do this. I recorded a video beforehand.
So here's a course that we implemented the diagnostic test in. You can see in the red box, do you know what you don't know? That's the quiz. So students can click on the link and the quiz opens. They're given instructions which says this is a basic mathematics knowledge test designed to allow you to identify any skills that you do not know. There will be similar tests provided throughout the term. This is formative, which means it does not count towards your grade. You'll be provided with a mark out of 10 for your own information. Note that if you do not address any areas of weakness, your grade will be affected in the end. You should attempt each question on your own paper and then select the answer that matches yours. If there is no answer that matches yours, you should reattempt the question. If you select an incorrect answer, you'll be able to watch an instructional video which will demonstrate the correct working and answer for a similar question. You will then have the opportunity to attempt the quiz again. You have unlimited attempts at the quiz, and students then click on the link down the bottom that says Attempt Quiz Now. Which of the following is correct? 10 plus 5 is 15, 10 minus 5 is 5, 15 is not less than 5, so that's not. B, 2 times 3 is 6, negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, 6 is greater than negative 6, so B is correct. We'll check it. And we're correct. And we're given a little statement saying it's correct. It also says it was on inequality symbols and it gives a link to a module that students can get more information on inequality symbols. So click Next. Without using a calculator, simplify. 4 plus 5 times 3, 5 times 3 is 15, so 4 plus 15 is 19, minus 6 divided by 3 is 2, 19 minus 2 is 17. We're going to click negative 9, which is incorrect. Now I accidentally picked Next instead of Check, so I went on to the next question. So we can click back number 2, and there's my answer, negative 9. Click Check, and I'm incorrect. So it says this is incorrect. Please watch the following to learn how to solve a similar question.
When answering these questions, you have to remember the rules of precedence or order of operations. And we'll keep it simple. They are brackets. So if the question had brackets, you'd have to do those first. Within the brackets, you'd have to then follow the rules of precedence or order of operations. You then do multiplication and division, and it's whichever one comes first. So multiplication doesn't come before division, and division doesn't come before multiplication. It's just whichever comes first from left to right. And that's the same for the next one that you do, which is addition and subtraction. Again, it's whichever comes first from left to right. Now you might have remembered from school BODMAS, or you might have learned BOMDAS as a way to remember these rules: brackets, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. The problem with these rules is that people sometimes forget that division and multiplication are equal. It's whichever one comes first. So you have to remember that. So coming back to the question, we have a multiplication and we have a division. So this becomes 5 plus 3 times 2 is 6. Move across, take 8 divided by 4 is 2. That's then 5 plus 6 is 11, take 2, which is 9.
So we're now back at the question, and students can click on the module down the bottom to get more information if they still don't understand. Next question, without using a calculator, evaluate. Now I'm going to pick the wrong answer again so you can see another video. So we'll pick A and go check. I then get that I'm incorrect and I get the opportunity to watch a video.
We want to evaluate 3 halves plus 3 sevenths times 1/6 minus 2. Fractions must follow rules of precedence. So the first thing we want to do is multiply these two fractions together. So we're going to just carry down the 3 halves. We're going to multiply 3 sevenths by 1/6. The first thing we need to do is to reduce it. So 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice. So now we're left with 1 times 1 over 7 times 2. And we're going to carry that 2 down. So now we have.
So it's not a lesson in maths, so we'll just stop that there. We'll click on the link down the bottom, which gives the students the opportunity to look at a module that's related to that. So we were just looking at fractions, so this is basic operations with numbers, and this module has full explanations of how to do various things, examples so students can learn how to do them, and then exercises so students can practice doing them, and full work solutions in the back of the book. So the modules are just from the bridging program steps at CQ University, and take it back to basics, which really helps students. So students can finish whenever they want, so I can go finish attempt and it gives me a summary.
Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea of what we've done. I thought that was the best way of doing it. I think you'll understand why and we're doing it, because they're the kind of maths things that people struggle with. How many people on Facebook see order of operations questions, and how many people are as frustrated as me when people can't solve them? They're basics. They are the basics that if you don't know how to do them, you can't do the more advanced levels of mathematics. But what you're testing could be anything. I can see applications outside of mathematics. So it doesn't have to be maths-based. And it can also be more advanced maths. I'm currently doing a diagnostic test for engineering maths, so much higher level. Chemistry. I can see lots of even non-scientific based programs. So things that we found. Did you find the week 1 test helped you increase your mathematical knowledge? 60% extremely helpful, 40% helpful. So no one was below that. Would you like to see this test together with video support incorporated with other courses? Of course, 100%, yes. If you initially got a question wrong, did the video help you understand the concept? 100% yes. The 2 comments there were the ones that I think are important though. I did not finish the test as I wasn't doing too well, and commenced some study through ALC. That's the Academic Learning Centre at the university. So they went and they sought help. Okay? The other one, it's the first time I've encountered so much help. It is truly amazing. And it's something that's quite simple to do. So things that I found, you should time your quizzes. There were students that would be taking a week or more, which is not a bad thing because they'd go and try and learn it, but I think that has to be within reason. So, you know, depending on what quiz you've got, you should think about timing it. So if it's a diagnostic test, then maybe them going off and learning material isn't a bad thing. And you saw how we've implemented links so they can go and learn the material, which is good. You need a course coordinator who encourages the students to complete the quizzes, especially if it's formative, and add a D option. We're going to now add don't know or unsure. So students who don't know don't have to guess. They can just go straight to that, and that'll give us ideas. Future projects. As I said, I'm currently doing a diagnostic test for engineering foundation mathematics. That's 40 questions, 5 questions per question, so I can randomise the questions. So 200 questions in total, 40 videos because we do a generic video. I don't think you have to do a video on the exact question because you want the student to understand your solution and then apply it. You don't want to give them the exact solution. We're also going to look at formative assessment with an introductory physics course and summative, which is pharmacology for nurses. So we're going to look at all three applications. Beyond 2015, I think we should extend it into non-mathematical courses. And that is it. Thank you for your time. There are my details. My name's spelled incorrectly in the program, so if you do want to contact me, there's 2 T's in the Elliot, and you won't reach me with the 1. So, are there any questions? No, that's Moodle.
Sorry, when they got it wrong and they clicked the link,
Mm-hmm.
that recording button that came up.
Oh, how did I do that? That's just embedding a video. You just link to it. So when you're creating your video, when you're creating your quiz, you just insert a link, which is your video, just like you would a file. There you go. It's quite quick and easy. Yes?
You must have changed the settings so they get feedback immediately while they're
Yeah, you can do all that, so you can set it up. So yeah, I get immediate feedback, and you just do that when your quiz set up. Oh, sorry, sorry about that. The question just then was, have I changed my settings in the quiz so there's immediate feedback? Yes, I have. But note that students don't get the actual answer. So if they've got it wrong, they don't get told the answer was, but they get the video.
And the other question is, I gather all your incorrect responses went to the same feedback.
Yes, because it saves time. I mean, I don't think you should be creating so many, like a video per thing. Like one of the people I work with said, well, why don't we have a video for each wrong answer because we know what they've done wrong. And I said, really? That's a lot of videos. So the one I'm doing now would be 200 videos. So yeah, I'm not going there.
And you use Journal, was it?
That one, yeah, these are just quick videos. Yeah, if I do instructional videos for a course, like the 126 I did, I use Word and I convert it into a PDF and I do it that way. That is what I call a professional video. So I do videos that way. Things like this, I just use Windows Journal because it's quick. So I can create a video in 5 minutes, if that.
Windows Journal does the capturing. I've got
Camtasia, you're recording the screen still. So you're using Windows Journal and then recording the screen over the top. Any others?
Cheerio.
I keep forgetting that. The question was what software I was using. So I'm trying to implement the question in my answer. I'll try and keep doing that. Yes?
So Sherry, interesting when you said putting in unsure isn't part of a multiple choice question, a process of elimination as well, which also teaches them. So are you not now removing that?
Well, the thing is that we don't want them to guess. So the question there was, are we eliminating you know how we eliminate answers when we do multiple choice? So we say, well, it's not that, it's not that, it's not that. What if they still don't know what it is at the end of that? Like they haven't gone down to one question. What if they really just don't know how to solve it to start with? We want the students to be able to go, look, I really don't know, I'm just going to go that way, so we know whether they're guessing or not.
I can see the advantage towards that being also that you can actually see when they don't know, and then you can follow up
That's
with
it.
further education for them.
And that's one of the reasons. And so the question there was, we can see the value in having the feedback from a diagnostic point in terms of the researcher, very much so. We want to know when they're guessing. And what things don't they know?
And if you are using the quiz for an instructor to get an idea of what points they're not covering well, then if everyone's answering a similar question, whereas if they're randomly just picking something to get to the feedback, then you're not getting any informed response.
No matter what reasoning you have behind using a quiz, whether it's for the student or for the instructor, I personally think everything that you do is for the instructor as well. Feedback's two ways. And no matter what you're using your quiz for, you will always have that feedback as an instructor, so you know what people are getting wrong all the time.
Obviously, the strength is in that to show the handwriting in that particular example. So seriously, you can give one of those things. The resources, do you have it available here somewhere for people who aren't enrolled in that subject as a general math resource? I'm sort of thinking, how many could handle a maths website?
Okay, so the question was, well, firstly, statement. Tablet PCs are awesome. Yes, I agree. Maybe not have been said in that way, but, you know. I'm elaborating. The other one